Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Cancer energy, and we're going to do this 10 card spread, and we're going to look and see all the stories that are in here. Sometimes some of them will be your stories, some of them are about other people in your life, some of them aren't, just things going on in the world. It's a general reading about Cancer energy, and uh, everybody taps into Cancer energy, but some people harness their Cancer energy in a more shadowy way. And they could just be kind of immature, regardless of what age they are. They could be caught up in the illusion of love. They could uh, be more in love with being about themselves, about the world, about things they like to indulge in money, materialism, status, image, power. And as people learn lessons in life and they grow and mature themselves, hopefully they come to realize that love is supposed to be where you do grow and mature yourself instead of indulging your more immature nature, and that love is to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated, and for some people, that's not their idea of love. Love is supposed to be all about them, and you're supposed to indulge them or something. So just listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story, where some other people in your life are at in the story, and we'll go from there. Okay. So we start out with the Lover's card, the Eight of Cups, and the Nine of Cups. And the overarching reason for the reading is the Star card, and the outcome of the reading is the King of Cups, which I view as Cancer energy. Hopefully we love ourselves enough to quit indulging ourselves in being more about ourselves and caught up more in the world, which is what shadowy Nine of Cups and the Star can be about. Indulging ourselves more in being about ourselves, or more about our ego, our image, or needing to be the center of attention. You know, hopefully we learn to love ourselves and become more independent of that way of viewing life. And hopefully we become illuminated to the truth that, if we really want to grow to our full potential, the Emperor talks about kind of learning all these lessons in life. In High Vibe, the Emperor would represent how you present yourself in the world, and that you really are who you say you are. So internally, emotionally, you would be an empress. The feminine figures talk about how we think and feel. The masculine figures represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world. And that you've learned these lessons in life. I let my heart run my life. I used to let my mind run my life. I let my passionate nature run my life. I was all caught up in the world. And it's part of the journey of life to go learn all those lessons, and we go through those different phases of life where we could let, in tarot we talk about the four suits of the deck: the heart, the mind, the worldly nature, and the passionate nature. All four of them are equally important, but maybe depending on our zodiac sun sign, or placements in our astrological chart, or just how we think and feel, we might definitely give precedence to some aspects more than others. Like, some people are like, oh my gosh, it's all about love. And other people, and the whole rest of their life can go in the toilet. Oh, but I love that. Whatever they love, someone else or what they like to indulge in. Other people can be all about the world and their ego and their image, and other people can't control their kind of more immature, impulsive, passionate nature. Do we want to just make our life just about ourselves and indulging ourselves? We might have some people in the world in the Knight of Swords who, if we live our life like that, are going to be defensive to us, because we are kind of wanting in the Eight of Cups to keep moving forward, just indulging ourselves and thinking other people should indulge us, and other people have kind of tempered their more egoic, self-centered, immature nature And they don't want to keep hanging out with people like that, right? And the knight is sent by the king and queen of swords about what people think is just and fair and what their idea of the dream life is. And some people are like, I'm not going to keep indulging you. You need to grow up. If you want to live your life like that, that's fine, but you need to go find someone else to hang out with. And because some people spoke their truth to some people in their life, some of the people said, fine, I am going to go find people who are willing to indulge me in whatever it is that their truth is. If my truth is I like to be indulged, I'll go try to find people who'll indulge me. If the truth is that I am maybe more about myself, or I am more about the world, or money, or status, or image, or power, I'll try to go find those people. We all like to hang out with people who kind of view life the way we view it, right? And those people will go take action in the Knight of Wands to go find people in the world who they think are on the same page as them. And the people who didn't want to keep indulging some people in their life who they think are immature in some way, and you could view some people who are immature, those people in turn could view some people in their life as being more immature. It's kind of all relative. That, when people view someone, even if they love them, you could have brothers, sisters, adult children, your parents, your family, coworkers, people you've known all your life. You can have love for them, but I'm not going to keep indulging you. If you're being full of yourself, immature, stubborn, defensive, kind of because we love them for a long time, we can try to get them to see the truth that, these things that you make your life about, or these attitudes that you have, or these ways of being, it's kind of hard to work with you, you know, but we can't make other people. The Ten of Pentacles and Virgo energy can talk about what people's long-term goals are and what their truth is. And in high vibe, it is kind of about willing to deal with the truth of some things we might like to keep hidden in the dark. Like maybe we are kind of still immature and more about ourselves or the world, or indulging ourselves, or looking to indulge in things to make us feel better. And sometimes some people just want to indulge in relationships with people to feel better. You know, we can't make people do that inner work within themselves. The Knight of Wands is Sagittarius energy, and high vibe, it's about higher learning and education. In shadow, it's kind of indulging yourself in your more immature nature. You have to be motivated and inspired to even want to look at those things you keep hidden in the dark. Why do I do what I do? Why don't I do what I want to do? There's a Bible verse that says that, kind of like, why do I do the things I don't want to do? And why do I do the things, something like that, whatever it is. Why do I do what I don't want to do? And why don't I do what I do want to do? And part of it is we have to be willing to deal with the truth, because the truth sets us free. Oh, is that what I've been doing? It's kind of maybe to get to that underlying motivation of why we do what we do. Are we more caught up in the things of the world? Do we look to things to indulge ourselves, to make ourselves feel better? Some other people have maybe done that, and now they've decided, you know, it doesn't move my life forward in the way that I want. So then the Emperor can talk about making a decision that if I want to be happy in the Ten of Cups, I can't keep indulging myself in some of these things that I might enjoy. But if it stops me, and maybe in the Tower card, causes disruption in my life, causes disruption in my friend group and my family group, and I'm not moving forward in life the way I want, where I kind of keep repeating this old pattern, I'm willing to deal with the truth. And that's when some people make these decisions in their life that I am not going to repeat some old patterns. I'm not going to. High vibe energy is also about being balanced within yourself. That, can I go enjoy things of the world without going to extremes anymore? And that's part of the growing up process too, because again, when we were younger, it is kind of running our life off into the ditch in these different ways to learn these lessons. Like, how far is too far? It's one thing to have love for people, but again, love is supposed to be just and fair. If people want me where I'm always the one having to try to, I don't know, well, it should be just and fair, where you're loving and nurturing and encouraging and supportive to each other. And you can be a loving and encouraging person, and you really can put a lot of work and effort to try to love and encourage other people. But is it out of balance? Are they in turn loving and encouraging you? Are they supportive to you? Um, you know, or in some way, do they want to be indulged in the relationship? And of course, they could think that's just and fair. And people who are loving and nurturing are like, well, you're supposed to love and nurture people, and you're supposed to be encouraging and supportive to people. Yes, but it's to be just and fair. If you have been loving and encouraging and supportive to people, you like did this, and the other people are like, that's great, but I still want to keep doing this. It can be like somebody always holding out their hand saying, give to me, give to me, give to me. And I'm never going to use what you give to me for me to do that within myself. So I don't need you to keep giving and giving and giving to me. We could get in a more balanced relationship. But for some people, they like that type of relationship. You give, 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 and I'll take, take, take. You keep putting in a lot of work and effort, and I'll keep indulging in the relationship until you're kind of willing to see the truth that this really isn't more just and fair and balanced. And that's where, loving people are like, but I love them. It's like, well, we can love all sorts of people in our life. If you have different people in your life, if they were defensive and shadowy Ten of Pentacles, that maybe they're a little more stubborn, unbudging, uh, again, kind of immature, or it should be more about them, and you shouldn't love yourself with the Tower, with the King of Cups. You should martyr yourself for them or for these causes, because they might martyr themselves, which can be they don't live their authentic truth. And for some people, it can be, I have made my life in the Ten of Pentacles a more shadowy, worldly Virgo viewpoint of life that anyone can harness. It's more important to have a certain status and image in the world, and you don't really live your authentic truth. You should sacrifice yourself so you have these things of the world, so people view you in this certain way. But that's kind of more from ego, right? And then other people, though, can try to tell you that you should do life like they do life. It's like, you're not living your authentic life. It shouldn't be where you martyr yourself and sacrifice. You do it because you enjoy doing it. You love those things. You love that job. You love those people. You love your family. Some people martyr themselves in a way, and they think they're being this upstanding citizen in the world, because they're afraid of being more independent, is what the Nine of Cups can be about. No, I have to indulge these people. No, the world won't like me if I don't act this way. It's just kind of all this caught up in the illusion of the world in their own head. no, I have to act this way and I have to do this things and I have to do this and I have to do that. It's like, who put all those ideas in your head? Why can't you just live your more authentic life and do what you really want to do, treating other people the way you like to be treated, being loving and encouraging and supportive to people, but saying, I have the right to live my more authentic life. I wish no ill will for anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to uh, tell anybody else how to live their life. I just want to live my more authentic life. Well, it can be because they're not very independent. They're very concerned about their ego and their image, but they might have a problem seeing the truth of how the world and other people in their life can manipulate them. But if they've decided that is the just and fair way to live your life, then if they get in friendships or relationships with people, well, then you should let all those same things manipulate you like they manipulate them. I was like, well, those things don't manipulate me. I don't view life the way you view it. My truth in my Virgo energy of self, and my Cancer energy, and my Aries, and my Gemini, and my Pisces, and my Sagittarius, and my Aquarius, and my Aries and Scorpio, and Cancer and Aries energy, those things don't have me all caught up like they have you caught up. And then those people cannot like that because you are more independent. You are willing to, and maybe more balanced within yourself, and they're kind of tipped out of balance to whatever degree that these things within themselves and in their world and in their life, or how they perceive the world and what they think is just and fair, and you should act like this and dress like this and hang out with these people and not those people, and you can't go there unless these other people go there, or only if those people are there first, because what would people think, or blah blah blah. And it's just like, oh my god. The hard thing is that we can kind of, people who love people don't want to just give up on them right away, so they might kind of indulge them for quite a while. Well, then the people who've been indulged for quite a while, well, they think that's just and fair and you should keep doing that. And, you know, we kind of learn as we go through life that I'm not going to get in a more involved relationship. I can be loving and encouraging to everyone. But if I get to know people and just meet people, I can be loving and encouraging and supportive to people. But now, you know, I'm not in more unstable energy, operating more from my fear and my insecurity, or thinking I need to change people, or I need everybody to like me or love me or whatever. I have my truth, they have their truth, and I'm willing to deal with the truth, and that's what the tower can talk about. I don't stay in denial of the truth, which is shadowy energy. I see the truth. I have met some people in my life, and I could have some people in my life that we kind of, our idea of what we kind of think is just and fair, and kind of what drives and motivates us, and our maturity level or our immaturity level, and our prideful nature and our egoic nature and our materialistic nature, and what we feel defines us and makes us significant and have worth and value in the world is different. No longer in denial of the truth. I can be loving and encouraging, high vibe energy, like with the star and the emperor, trying to be just live your life in a way aligned with your truth, being kind of a loving and encouraging person to people in the world, but not getting in your ego. I accept everybody has free will, which is kind of the Knight of Swords is Gemini energy, which is about people's free will. Not everybody has to live their life the way I live it, view life the way I view it, and we're all at different stages of life. We've all got different lessons to learn. It's not about me and everybody liking me or wanting to be my friend or date me or whatever. Everybody has their free will to live their life whatever way they want. Can I enjoy a lot of people in the world and have all different people from different ages and different ways of living life that I can get along with? Yeah. Do I want to get in a more involved relationship with them? No. Do they probably want to get in a more involved relationship with me? No. Because we all can see, yeah, you kind of live your life differently than me. It's like, yeah, I do. But, you know, we can be in communities, we can be in workplaces, we can be in neighborhoods, we can be in families, and it's not a problem. you know, what's more of a problem if it's like a close friend or a romantic relationship where we did already get involved with them and maybe we weren't seeing the truth initially that, oh, I think we kind of really view life differently, and I didn't realize that. Because the whole thing is, the masculine cards can, again, it kind of represents how people are presenting themselves in the world, male or female. It can either in shadow be that we're operating more from our ego, or that is we are authentically who we say we are. And again, the feminine figures can represent how we think and feel. And the overarching reason for the reading is the star card, which is a feminine figure here. Anybody, male or female, can present themselves in the world like, I am this very responsible person. I make good decisions in my life. And if you are in relationship or friendship with me, and if my decisions would affect you, I would take you into consideration. And I am this person motivated and inspired by love and maybe a loving family person. But for some of those people, they can really seem that way. In a lot of ways, they can seem that way. But in shadow, it would be more about how it benefits them. Well, it's good for my ego and my image for me to present myself like that. And then Aquarius energy of the star card is kind of living more from your mind than your heart, where it's kind of more of a strategy. This is a good way to present myself because people will view me a certain way. And then people will get in relationship with me. And so long as it works for them in the sense that it's good for their ego and their image, but if it ever requires them to maybe be willing to be a student of life because the tower talks about detaching from an old foundation. If they have a more worldly view of life, that would be a more worldly Virgo nature and worldly Cancer energy and all these other zodiac signs I mentioned. Um, that is kind of their truth. If they come in contact with people who kind of challenge this way that they view life, like they come in contact with people who are more authentically who they say they are, who really do look at life from a higher perspective, that aren't kind of using a mental strategy that is good for their ego and their image and how people view them, but that's just authentically more who they are. They are more independent of their more egoic nature to be just more authentically motivated and inspired by truth and love. Well, then that can kind of rattle their cage a little bit, right? Like, I can kind of see that you're kind of, and it kind of disrupts them because it causes some conflict within them, some defensiveness within them. It's like, wait a minute, this is how I view myself, but you seem to go about things a little differently, and it kind of could make them kind of almost want to see where they aren't really maybe more genuinely motivated to be that kind of person in the world. There is kind of this ulterior purpose, and they don't want to see the truth of it. So that's when they can kind of become defensive in a relationship when they're starting to see kind of that they are kind of maybe mm, a little more aligned with their worldly egoic nature, and that they kind of have been indulging themselves in their ego, thinking and viewing themselves this way. And they could hang out with people in the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles that kind of live life that way, view life that way. And it just is really, the Tower can talk about that. It's really kind of disruptive to kind of how they view themselves and maybe even how they view the world. And if they don't like that being disruptive and disrupted, I don't want to see the truth, because that would require that in the Tower card, I kind of see the truth of it, and then, I wouldn't be able to keep indulging in it. And I would have to be willing to be more of a student of life and get out of my ego a little bit. In order to be more independent, you have to free yourself from things that manipulate you, which can be this more worldly egoic nature that we have. And, you could know some people that they don't want to see the truth of that. And they might not want to see the truth of how they could think it should be a little bit more about them in a relationship. And so they like to view themselves as these just and fair people, but it's supposed to be a little bit more about them, or a lot more about them. And other people should maybe have to heal and grow and mature themselves, but they could think, I don't have to heal and grow and mature myself. I don't have anything I need to change. And then they can stay stagnant. They're never, the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. We came to a Ten of Pentacles and a Ten of Cups when we went from 18 to being 21. Then we had to look at, either I stay like an 18-year-old, or I need to look at what needs to go. Which ways are kind of more immature, and I should let those things go. And I should quit repeating those ways of thinking and believing and perceiving in myself and the world and acting. And I let those things go, and I kind of take the good building blocks with me. And then I act more like a 21-year-old, and I put those more childish ways behind me. Which makes me think of that Bible verse. When I was a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, or spoke like a child. And when I grew up, I put my childish ways behind me. Something like that, paraphrase. But some people have gotten to a stage of life where, they think they're the boss, they think they're all that. No, other people have maybe some healing and growing and maturing to do, but not them. But it stays stagnant. It's like somebody who keeps staying like an 18-year-old, even though maybe they're 35 or 45 or 55. For some reason, they're unwilling to change, to get out of their defensive, egoic nature. And that's fine. They don't have to. If they have a way of living life that they really enjoy and they really like, that's fine. Other people just need to be willing to see the truth. If this isn't your truth, and the Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups, that at one time it could have seemed great, just like becoming 18-year-old was great. Do we want to stay an 18-year-old forever? No. And eventually we kind of find it confusing, and eventually we could kind of find it kind of superficial and shallow, and we could kind of realize that the reason we're not moving forward in life is more of fear and insecurity and codependency, and because we don't love and believe in ourselves to go to like the next stage of life. So then we keep staying in our comfort zone and nothing ever changes. And I think Life is kind of like rolling a ball slightly up a hill. It takes work and effort, to expect to reap rewards takes work and effort. And sometimes we can think, oh no, is it good to kind of get to a plateau spot? Like, again, I'm 18. It's time for me to spend 3 years in the 18 to 20-year range. Yes. But then it's kind of like our creative, inspired, intuitive nature tells us you've kind of learned everything you need to learn here. It's time to face your fears, make a decision to love and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams. Let's start rolling the ball up the hill to get to being a 21-year-old, right? And some people don't want to do that. And just like we had people at those other stages of our life where sometimes we were the one who didn't want to move forward and other people moved on from us and we had to stay there longer, you know, because when we're ready, we're ready. When it becomes too, I just can't keep doing this. It was fun, it was great, but I'm kind of inspired to go on this adventure and I want to go try other things. Just like people could have whatever hobbies or social activities that they've done. After a while, it can be like, I'd really like to go do something else every once in a while. And maybe that'll just completely phase out and I don't even want to do that anymore. And sometimes when one person kind of feels that way, the other person doesn't. And so that's when it can be really difficult because some friends or family members that we wanted to have move forward with us in a certain way, that's not how they're viewing life and it's not what they're motivated and inspired by. And we could feel like they're repeating an old pattern and maybe kind of indulging themselves in their ego or their fear or their pride or their stubbornness or their self-indulgent nature, you know but we just have to accept the truth that everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want to live it. So I think some high vibe people have become independent. They're offering themselves a cup of love to stand up for their truth and make decisions in their life aligned with their truth out of love, offering other people truth and love. If you want to move forward kind of with me in this way, we can. But the Tower card can also represent that something did really kind of show you that I got to be done with this, or the people that I'm dealing with are kind of really defensive or immature or self indulgent or more about themselves or more ego based, materialistically based, all about themselves or something is what the Tower can mean. And some people could be going through that right now. Others of you have already gone through that. And kind of when the Tower happens in someone's life where, like, whoa, this, I gotta quit this, or this is not what I thought it was, then, the second phase that some of you have been working through, other people will just be going into it, is working through it and standing up for yourself, doing maybe this inner work. There could be a part of you that doesn't want to detach, and you work through the fact that I can't go back and do that and I need to see the truth of that. That is not my truth. um I don't want to keep living my life that way, or those people have shown me the truth, and no. And so then you have to do this work to really kind of be a good leader in your own life and invest your time, energy, and effort into the people in your life who are more authentic or mature or loving and encouraging, or be that person for yourself also at the same time. And that's when, in the second phase of this, you do become emotionally independent of that old foundation, and you kind of get out of your defensiveness. You get out of thinking you'd ever probably want to live your life like that again, or hang out with some of those people or whatever, and you're ready to move forward and have your new beginning. And some people are just kind of experiencing that, where they're starting to do this work within themselves, right? So, what's going on for the high vibe people that are moving forward in their life, standing up for their truth and kind of seeing the truth of kind of what's what? Okay. I have two cards that came out that aren't showing themselves. And the reason they came out is because of the Two of Swords. So, part of the process of going through life is learning to listen to intuition. Because sometimes we got ourselves involved in some things. We're like, yeah, I want to go indulge in that. I'm sure that will make me happy. And our intuition and kind of like our more mature self that we hadn't quite grown into yet was trying to tell us, you shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. But life is in Sagittarius energy about learning these lessons. And you went and did it. And it probably didn't work out the way you wanted. But if you are willing to deal with the truth of it, okay, I'm willing to see where I needed to heal and grow and mature myself. I'm willing to see where some of the people I needed to heal and grow and mature themselves. The only person I can change is me. So I'm going to do this work within myself to heal and grow and mature myself. And now I'm going to start listening to my intuition. More so than maybe my more immature nature. Knights would be more immature than kings and queens and emperors and empresses, right? And as people go through this process, some people will see that you're not repeating an old pattern, that you are making these better decisions in your life. Well, some of them are repeating these old patterns. And they could wonder how you're doing it in the tower. Like, how'd they do that? This is what I thought was a good idea, and this is what I invested my time and energy in. And I thought for sure that was the answer, and that was going to make me happy. But again, they could be repeating an old pattern because there's some truth that they haven't learned yet, that they need to learn in order to move forward in life a little differently. And so, what some people don't know about you is that you listen to your intuition instead of taking action more out of defensiveness or pride or ego or lust or greed, indulging yourself in some way. And you don't harness these energies in a more shadowy way. And you are willing to cut out the people in your life who kind of would like you to maybe be in that energy because then they would be in relationship with you. But they want you kind of in that more shadowy energy, and you were willing to let go of those people because you harness this energy in a more high vibrational way right now. They just maybe don't know it. The Ten of Cups and the Star reversed. So you could have been happy in the past, kind of not looking at life from the bigger picture and high vibe Aquarius energy. Maybe lacked hope and faith and belief in yourself. Could have been a more codependent energy. Just wasn't seeing life from a bigger picture. And now you're less consumed with making your life more about these things of the world. And you're happy because you're balanced. The Two of Swords in Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice. We have our more worldly nature, we have our more high vibrational nature, and it takes doing this work within ourselves to free ourselves, to quit kind of giving in to letting our more worldly, shadowy nature kind of be in the driver's seat of our life, and let our more loving, hopeful, believing nature be in the driver's seat of our life. And you, in your Gemini nature, saw the truth that I do have this dualistic nature. I do have free will. And if I want my dreams to come into reality, it starts with me aligning with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. So I have to learn to love myself. Aries energy is about the self. Believe in myself, believe in my dreams, and keep focused on truth and love and investing my time, energy, and effort into things that are loving and encouraging and supportive of me, within myself and invest my time, energy, and effort into other people who are doing that and working together with me in that way. Because my dreams can't come into reality with people who aren't kind of in that energy within themselves to work together with other people in this way. And some people are still caught up, either codependent or caught up in themselves or the more worldly dream. And sure, that's going to be what makes them happy. And you kind of maybe saw through the illusion of it. You can have all these things of the world. You could have indulge in all these things, have all these things, be the center of attention, blah, 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 blah. And unless you're happy within yourself, those things aren't going to make you happy. And you might have realized that, but other people still haven't realized that. And so that's what they're going to go pursue. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy? We have the Nine of Pentacles, the Hermit, the King of Pentacles, the Judgment, and the reason is because of the Lover's card. Well, they're still maybe more aligned. The Nine of Pentacles is also Virgo energy, and the Hermit is also. They could just love being more about themselves, love the things of the world, want to indulge in those things of the world, because in their mind, they're sure that those things are going to make them happy. But they might hide the truth, because in high vibe, the King of Pentacles holding one pentacle. Virgo energy in high vibe is about the truth. The King of Pentacles in high vibe is about the truth. And in high vibe, the truth is love. But in our Gemini energy of the Lover's card, like the Knight of Swords card, we can either defend being more about ourselves and wanting to indulge ourselves and defend our more worldly nature. And some people don't want to see the truth. Their Virgo energy is within them. It exists within them for them to be a more self-aware, insightful, emotionally mature, stable, grounded, be authentically like who they might try to present themselves in the world as being. But instead, they hide the truth and they go out in the world trying to present themselves as this insightful, stable, loving person. But it's just not really the truth of who they are. It's more about them. Do they want to maybe be in relationships? Maybe want to get married? Yeah, for how it benefits them. But not because of love. It's more hiding that they're more about these things of the world or how it benefits them, but that's shadowy energy. I try to create an illusion that I'm this much more stable, grounded person, an authentic person than I really am, and then maybe hoping that if they can get someone in a relationship with them, and some of them could really be trying to get someone to get in a long-term commitment with them because they think it would be good for their ego or their image, or they're mad at other people in their life who didn't indulge them in a relationship. Look at me. I got in a new relationship. I found someone to indulge me. And they could hope that if they can get that person in the relationship, that either it will really upset the people who were loving in their life, who weren't willing to indulge them. That is not a good reason to get in a relationship. I want it to really bother that person. Maybe make them think like their dreams won't come into reality with me. It's like the other people already know their dream can't come into reality with them because they've already seen the truth about what kind of person they are. And for others, they just want to get someone in the relationship. It's good for their ego and image and status. They have someone to indulge themselves in a relationship with. And then they hope that at some future point in time, when those people see the truth, that they just kind of wear a false mask of being motivated and inspired by love, that it really is more about the ego or the image or them, They're hoping that either because those people have love for them, that those people won't be able to get out of the relationship, or because we're all kind of tempted in our more worldly egoic nature. It's like, well, gee, so you'd stay in the relationship. I'd kind of like to stay in the relationship for these different reasons. And, it has a lot of stability and security, all these things. And we might have created a family. But then it is more living a lie. At least one person, if one person is high vibe, they know the other person really isn't in it for love. They've really seen the truth of what drives and motivates them, and it's not love. And if those people want to stay in it, they can stay in it. But for some of these people who try to confuse people about the truth of who they are, and then they get in the relationship, and then they're defensive, and it's more about them, and they're kind of immature, and they think people should indulge them. They could have some people in their life right now that are going to decide to become single from them. Because, and they could have at one time either wanted to marry them or viewed them differently. But let's go look. What could be happening in some people's lives, or did happen in some people's lives? It can be, it can't even be as we're out in the world. We kind of see people in the world who, wow, you can just tell with some people that, it isn't more superficial and shallow. It really is more authentic and loving. And that's the Eight of Cups walking away from the Seven of Cups. In high vibe, the Seven of Cups in Scorpio is a deep, meaningful relationship. And some people realize that they're in relationships with people who are more superficial and shallow. And it's not love. And I don't want to stay in a relationship with someone who wants me to stay in it for these various reasons, and they'd be willing to stay in it for these various reasons. It's like, but I don't think it's love. And my dream was to be in a relationship with people who want to be in a relationship with me equally because of love as the underlying factor for being in the relationship. What could the Tower be? The Six of Pentacles and the Magician. Why? Because of the Six of Cups. So the Six of Pentacles can talk about that it's a more transactional relationship. And that, well, you have these traits and characteristics and you bring this to the table. And I have these things and traits and characteristics and I bring these to the table. But one person could have more of those things of the world that people could value, but it can just be their looks or their social clout. It could be money, it could be status, whatever people value in the world. Other people really could be more emotionally loving and nurturing, the Six of Cups of Scorpio. And sometimes the people who have those things of the world think, well, I think what I bring to the table is more important than what you bring to the table. Because there'll be other people willing to get in a relationship with me because of these things of the world that I have. So they think it's just and fair to manipulate people who are loving in a relationship with them. And if you kind of don't make it a little bit more about them, or the reason they want to be in the relationship is for these more superficial and shallow reasons. Maybe you have the money and the status and the image and you're loving, and they want to be in it to kind of indulge in it. But the truth is, they just have this way of viewing relationships, and they're kind of can work together with people, but it is just more like this makes practical, logical sense. And, but it's not really love. And we feel like we're repeating an old pattern, and we can kind of feel like we were manipulated and that people weren't telling the truth of what ultimately really drove and motivated them, of why they do what they do. So now people living in a world where people can wear false masks, we were given our intuition for that purpose. Because a lot of people can look really stable, grounded, emotionally mature, have been in other relationships that seem to be maybe very victorious and successful or loving. Well, that might have been because of the person they were in a relationship with more so than them. And that's kind of what some people end up finding out. Oh, I thought it was more because of you. And then they get in a relationship with them and it's like, no, I think the reason why that other relationship could have seemed more abundant and loving and all those things was kind of more because of your partner. And I don't think you're the person who really is more authentically loving. And that's when some people kind of see the truth that you're not who you say you are. And they're going to go get in a relationship with people who really are. So there you go, Cancer. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And we will see you next time. And as some of you move forward and some of the people who do get out of a job, a friendship, or relationship, or you heal or grow, mature yourself in some way and quit certain ways of feeling or thinking or behaving in the world, the tower can just mean it's really a shock to people. Like, wow, you're different, or you just seem to have a different energy about you. Seem like you used to be kind of more flighty or immature or impulsive or reckless. You seem to have settled down, or wow, I never thought you'd quit that job or get out of that friendship or that relationship. And for other people who've already kind of gone through that and you're at the phase where it's more uh detaching from other things and really emotionally detaching from it, people just really seeing the truth of who you are. Because sometimes people can just think people are creating an illusion, about who they are, but people seeing you are the real deal. And then for some of you who are moving forward in new jobs or relationships, that could be a shock to people too, that wow, they really are who they say they are, and they're not putting up with bullshit no more in there apparently. Because some people could have thought, oh, they'll go back and do this or they'll go back and do that, and it's like, no, I'm not going back and doing that, and kind of doing life differently. And then that can be a shock for people. And if there was some people who thought, oh, I bet you'll come indulge me and I'm going to be defensive or manipulative and you'll come indulge me in a relationship, those people are having a tower moment, because it's like, no, if I communicated my truth and love to you and then you didn't choose to work together with me to bring this dream into reality, well, apparently you view life a little differently, or you want to be indulged in a relationship. And I've already been in relationships with people like that, so I accept that that's what you chose to do, and I'm going to keep moving forward listening to my intuition. And apparently, some people that I thought maybe I could have a dream come into reality with, apparently not. And then some of those people are like, well, I thought you'd kind of keep chasing after me or something. It's like, no. And then some of those people could be hiding they really wanted to be in a relationship with you, but because they tried to manipulate people, those people don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. And those people have moved on. And now those people might have to go try to find someone else to manipulate. you know, when we're in a relationship, we have the free will to be truthful and authentic and act with character and integrity, or we take a risk to repeat some poor past patterns, thinking maybe people will chase us. And some people are like, I'm not chasing anyone. I spoke my truth. If that's your truth, tell me it's your truth. If that's not your truth, or by your actions it shows me it's not your truth, I'm moving on. And, some people are going to have to quit doing that if they want, or they can keep doing it, but it might not work out the way they want. Get out of your ego and being full of yourself. And if people communicate their truth to you, communicate your truth to them. So there you go, Cancer. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.